Welcome back to Safer at Home Stories. Today I am lucky enough to be talking to Ro Moore. She's the producer of Buzzed Out, and she does a whole bunch more stuff I'm sure she'll tell us all about today. So Ro, how are you doing?
I'm doing good so far. How about you?
Great. And knowing you in the past, seeing you on social media, you are a person that's always working and doing a lot of things, so much more than what our Arroyo Channel viewers know you from, which was Buzzed Out, a great game show. What other things keep you busy and are keeping you busy?
Well, right now I'm working on a couple different shows. I was lucky enough to be called from a couple productions. I got to work on Laugh Aid, Comedy Gives Back 2020, which was a telethon fundraiser. Where a bunch of comedians came together at the beginning of this COVID thing to raise money for comedians that are out of work or have lost income because they can no longer tour. So that was a very fun, interesting opportunity because it was all 100% remote. I also just wrapped on RuPaul Drag Race, the reunion and finale episodes. And that starts airing on Friday. I'm very, very super stoked to see how those episodes come out because that was another one that was remotely done. Other than that, I've done everything from the Hollywood Christmas Parade to Masters of Illusion on CW, a bunch of network stuff.
Yeah. That's really amazing. What I love about that is we've all kind of been slammed into this new world of producing from home. That's what I'm doing here right now with you. And that's what I've had to learn to do kind of on the fly. And we're even training our community at Pasadena Media to do. So I probably need to learn a lot from you about the tricks about how Hollywood's doing it and how it's making it happen. Because I've caught some of the things you mentioned, like the RuPaul Drag Race, and it's super impressive how Hollywood has quickly adapted. Do you have any insider tips, the tricks of the trade that you guys are using on that end of the industry?
Well, we're using a couple different things. Now, keep in mind, these are obviously higher budget productions. So we do have access to a lot of things that, say, a community producer may or may not have. But we are still using the Zoom format. We're using an OBS or an open broadcasting system that captures all the live streams to come in and allows us to position them, format them how we need in order to make it look like a professional production, similar to the Parks and Rec episode that they did, All Rise, all that kind of shows that are doing it in that Zoom format. We also are using a program called Unity. Now, that's an app for your phone, and it operates very similar to the PL or radio system that you would see in a booth or on a studio stage, but it's just through our phones, which is really, really cool because going forward, that may mean producers don't need to rent all the radios. They can trust the employees to have the radio on their phone and be able to be free with that. Because I could be in Trader Joe's and someone else could be at CBS and I could still hear them. So we're using a lot of those systems to help support us in producing something similar to this.
What I have found is working with people, even on the scale, say, a producer like myself is on, you kind of have to train your talent a little bit. So do you find, say you're working on a show like RuPaul's Drag Race, I imagine the production ships out equipment to each participant, talent, and do you find yourself or someone else having to train the talent, and what's that like?
Yeah, so for RuPaul, we did send out packages. So we sent out a lighting kit, an audio kit, and a camera kit that the talent had to set up, and our director and I guess our production people that were at the main hub, we used BC Live based in Burbank. They were the ones that helped us support and make this all happen. And they managed to run through everything with everybody, set up the camera, talked them through that, talked how we were going to light it. But even then, the director still came in and we were talking the talent through, hey, so that lamp that's in the background, can you turn that on? Can you dim it? And art direction, can you please clean up this area? Like different things like that, that the talent, I don't think, was ready for it. It's interesting because a friend of mine is in Canada and they're doing a remote production that is including international people. So like their art directors in London and actors in Kentucky, a different actor is in Alaska, their DPs in Brazil. Like they are doing this remote and using it to bring an international crew together to make this happen. And the interesting thing about working with talent is they may or may not know what a close-up means or what they mean by a medium shot. And so they've learned to put together a sheet that gives an example of, hey, we want this type of framing. So make sure that we get that, and talking the actor or the talent through, saying, okay, we need you to come just an inch closer, an inch further back. But the hard part with that is trying to figure out how to use the camera system and hook it up either into the Zoom or to where a Zoom or Skype view sees what the phone is capturing, or the camera is capturing in this case. And that's been the most difficult part that I don't think anybody's figured out quite yet.
Or we're all kind of learning on the fly too.
Exactly.
Does on each end of the production, are you having several records for like redundant recording? So is each talent member recording on their end, and then you're also recording at the production hub?
Yeah, I mean, for Laugh Aid, we only did it at the production hub. We didn't have it ISO'd on everybody's computer, but that's because we did use Zoom as our primary output for the video. We didn't send the talent a camera kit. Like, that would have been over 120 different talents that would have needed a camera kit. Versus with RuPaul, it was just 13 who needed a camera kit. So that was more in the budgetary friendly side.
Where many of us are working from home, and we know how intense that can get. And your workspace looks pretty intense and cool and interesting.
Yeah, for sure. It was trial and error as well, because like with using Unity on the phone, I can't charge my phone. And not that Unity is a battery drainer, but it was my biggest fear, because Laugh Aid was a full 12-hour production. Like, we started recording at 2, and I think we may have finished at midnight, but I was already on Unity at 8 a.m. So yeah, basically my phone was going 24 hours. So figuring out how to do the wireless charging, and then making sure that everything in my setup was accessible to however I needed it. Because my workspace, it's basically, I'm sitting at the big screen TV, and that's where I have like my producer view. So any of the producers plus upcoming talent, the way we managed, how we managed Laugh Aid was we had one waiting room that was a Zoom room where all the talent and the producers would meet. They'd discuss the segment or anything that was information that needed to be passed to the talent. And then when it came time to have them go live, I would pop in and give them, hey, 5-minute warning, 3-minute warning, 2-minute. All right. Then the talent would be passed from that Zoom room to the live feed. And then they would go live. And once that started dwindling down, we would take them out of the live feed and bring them back to the producer holding room. So that was why I used my big screen. And same thing kind of with RuPaul. But what we did with RuPaul is we had each video stream in a little like tic-tac-toe box. So I had to have it on a big screen so I could see who was talking at certain points, and making sure that if we missed somebody talking or if there was overlap, being able to tell that to the producers and say, hey, we need so-and-so to restate what they just said. It's we've got crosstalk. And that was a huge thing to be paying attention to with the Zoom, because with RuPaul, we were recording isolated on the camera to the talent, and we were doing a in-studio recording. So we had both, but we wanted to make sure that if there was crosstalk and that ISO recording didn't have it crisp and clear, that we also had it crisp and clear on the other end as well. So, but yeah, I basically had 3 computers, an iPad, and then the big screen TV, and then a smaller screen so I could have my program monitor, and then also my, what is that called? The rehearsal monitor of the talent on deck, so we could see how that was switching in and out.
So in your work, is there particular software that helps you as a producer, script supervisor, something people out there can learn?
Yeah, I would highly recommend that people take a look into ShowFlow. And that's SHOFLO. And that is mainly used in the sports arena. What they do is they create rundowns, and then from somebody's phone or an iPad or a website login, they can see exactly what item they're on at any given point anywhere. So you build the rundown on that. You can also include a teleprompter side that the teleprompter can then project to the camera screen, and the talent can read off of that. It also allows like immediate changes. So say something in the rundown needs to change. For example, on the Laugh Aid thing, we had to have Bob Saget come in earlier, and his talent that he was going to talk to come earlier. So I was easy at a couple clicks of a button I was able to move that up in the rundown, and everybody was aware of it. As soon as they started scrolling through their app, they could see, oh, Bob Saget's next. Different things like that. So it's a super helpful tool. I highly recommend people either you can sign up for it and then ask them for a free tutorial, and they'll walk you through all the different aspects. But that has been the solid rock of all the productions I've been on.
Operating at the scale you're at, do you have tips for our producers and community that maybe they've been doing Zoom shows and using OBS a little bit, but they're ready for that next trick that's going to make their production all the better? Do you have any inexpensive tips?
Ooh, inexpensive tips. Don't be afraid to get creative. I don't know, because I'm personally trying to figure this out too, because I'm about to shoot a short film on green screen and really try to do the blocking and try to comp it in and see how it'll work and come out together. A lot of it is always communicate, over communicate to the extreme. That's the cheapest thing on earth. It's just a matter of using words. But yeah, that would be my thing. And then definitely learn the post-production process and what is available to you in post, because editing can do a magical thing. That's why I'm really curious for the finale episode of RuPaul, because we have lip sync battles. And I can't spoil anything, but watching how we film some of those and how they'll be cut together and whether they'll come across really great or really rough, I'm very curious about, because we filmed it all remotely. So, yeah.
Wow. So you're crazy in a good way, that you are doing so much. Like that, hearing you say you're shooting a short film over green screen. So I'm imagining you directing a short film, directing talent over Zoom, and each talent has their own green screen. And that sounds like a huge endeavor to me. So what is it? Can I just ask, without giving away the plot and spoiling it, can I just ask, is your film based in this world of kind of telecommuting Zoom, or are you doing like full-fledged like scenes?
My hope is to do it full-fledged scenes, because that's the thing that hasn't been figured out yet. Even my friend who did the international show where she brought everybody in internationally, it's mainly Zoom friendly because they're still talking interview style about a lady who's died. But for me, it's like two characters that are coming in, meeting, and we think we found a little nugget of what works, because if the green screen doesn't work 100%, they're both ghosts. So we can play with the idea of, okay, the rules of this world as we know it don't apply to them. So if something does go a little haywire, it's okay. So, but it's supposed to be full-fledged, not Zoom-like they're talking to each other type situation.
That is bonkers in an awesome way. Like, I can't. You have to keep us updated on that short and how it's going. And I'm sure people would love to see a behind the scenes, because depending on how long this COVID-19 thing is, if you can like crack the code of making full-on movies over Zoom, you'll be even more sought after in the industry than you already are. So congrats to you. That's really cool to hear. Now, speaking about your personal productions, viewers of the Arroyo channel are familiar with Buzzed Out. What else? You have the short film on the horizon. Anything else? I know you are involved with the Hollywood Parade, right?
Yeah, the Hollywood Christmas Parade, Masters of Illusion. So we are supposed to be coming back. We got renewed for the Christmas Carolers competition on CW as well. So that, once this whole COVID thing gets lifted, we'll be back in production for that. Super stoked. And then I was actually on a BET television series when this whole COVID thing went down. So I'm looking forward to getting back to that one as well.
Mm-hmm. So some things are paused, some things are adapting, and then some opportunities are wholly new opportunities that kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly.
But going beyond a year, 2 years from now, is the nature of production going to change from all this? Even if things go back to normal, is the world different now? And what have we learned from this era that we can use going forward?
You know, it's really interesting you ask that, because there's two ways I'm going to answer that. I think once we get back to the regular world or how we were doing things, or even the adapted side of things, I think we're all going to be surprised how this time frame allows us to become more adaptable and international with what we want to do as far as a show. Because I read somewhere that there was another show shooting that needed specific talents. Like the talent needed to be an artist and actually have sculptures. And they actually found somebody in Nashville who was a sculptor and may not have been an actor, but they flew him everything, got him everything. And they were able to use his location, because he's a sculptor, as the way that they tell the story. So, I mean, that's a new thing that we can now take advantage of in this nature. I think once narrative figures out how to use this, because the nice thing is unscripted, they're still shooting, they're still figuring out the ways, and they're doing it either through a phone call. Instead of using Unity, they're doing it through a phone call where the person has an earbud in their ear and the producer's feeding them things to do interview style, like how you and me are, and different aspects of the production aspect, because unscripted is generally just a cameraman following somebody along. So talent's learning how to take a selfie stick and do the angles and things like that. But I think it will be different because different people will be able to participate and not be bounded by a location. But I also think in a year or two, we're going to be back where we were. We may have like the new sanitizations and the new structure as far as how to keep each other healthy. But I'm pretty sure we're going to be back on set and have, the 50 plus extras and, the full crew, and everybody's going to be partying.
Yeah. And are you eager for that return to normalcy?
I am. I'm actually enjoying the fact that my commute is from my bedroom to my living room, though. And I joked all the time on set, hey, as a script supervisor, as soon as they learn how to send me monitor from home, I'm never leaving. And that's what they've learned how to do. So I'm very excited for that, but I am missing the collaborative nature of being on set and everybody becoming a family, because we're all going through the same experience. Definitely.
And working from home, what is that like? There's obviously an upside to it, but hey, now maybe your workspace is where you used to do another hobby, or it's where you used to eat breakfast. So what are the challenges as well as the benefits to working from home?
Well, the benefit is obviously that commute. I love only having to get up 5 minutes before my call time. But the other benefits that I love too is I do have a quiet space to work. So being from home, I can take care of other personal stuff. When I'm in the office, especially on like RuPaul, I was doing script supervision. So after I'd finished formatting a script, I could just go out for a run, because I knew I wasn't going to be getting notes back on it for at least an hour, hour and a half. So I could just get up, go for a run, not even blink an eye. Whereas if I was in the office, I'd be sitting in the office waiting for that feedback for an hour and a half, not knowing what I can do in that time frame. So that's been a really nice benefit to know that, okay, they have to trust me. I'm getting my work done. And I also get to enjoy some personal things that help me, not just mentally, but emotionally and physically. So that was a huge, huge benefit. The disadvantage, though, is I don't get to hear the conversations that I normally would being in a production office. So I can be like proactive. If I hear, hey, such and such guest has been canceled, I can automatically go into the script and say, okay, let me make that change. Versus now I may or may not hear it by email. And then after I've sent in my script for notes, they're like, oh yeah, so-and-so is no longer booked. We need to change this whole segment. And that can add a little bit of time to it, because if I send a script in at 11 and then they read it at 1, but the person was canceled at 10:45, they're going to come back to me and be like, aren't you hearing this? Like, didn't you know that this is what happened? And of course my answer is going to be like, no. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, that's one minor disadvantage. The other, but to make up for that disadvantage, everybody's been over communicative. Like, I'm getting emails when I'm on a job consistently, and every little step of the way, they're like, oh, hey, don't know if you know, but here you know. Now you know.
Yeah, I think it's just an interesting time where we are going to see people's idea of work and life change. Because for me personally, I find some days I feel like I'm working from home, but some days I feel like I'm living at work. So it's an interesting situation people are finding themselves in.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because I've been working from home roughly the last decade. So, because before going into the industry full time, I was a transcriber and I worked from home. So I got used to that idea of, okay, my work is my home is my work. Yeah. But I could see where it's a shock to someone that's never had to deal with that.
And one thing I know about you too, that we haven't touched on is you're also an instructor. You've taught a lot of, trained a lot of people and helped a lot of people on their way up in the industry. And you're also a person I know that's always learning yourself. So what advice would you give to people, maybe if they have a little extra time now, what can they do to up their game and pick up some new skills in this time?
Oh man, there's so much out there. I will not lie. I have been on overdrive and I've had to step away because there's so many resources. But there's a couple of resources that I highly recommend. There's something called Catalyst Story Roads, which is a nonfiction or episodic. They do a film festival in, I think, Minnesota every year. But they've decided to do a lot of screening interviews with television directors, showrunners, producers, all the content you could ever want and need on their YouTube channel. So I'll make sure to send you the link, but I would highly recommend checking out those, as they are giving away a lot of the insider info and insights on how to get started, things to think about now that you're in COVID, all that kind of stuff to do that. Entertainment Partners is offering Accounting 101 for free. So if you want to learn how you can get up on your financial game or even get a job as an accountant on a film production, they're offering that class for free. And they have subsequent classes that are also available. Women in Media and Women in Film are offering different options. I'm trying to think. There's a couple others that are coming up too. But there's a ton out there, and all you have to do is just Google film classes LA online. Like even Blackmagic is doing a color correct and editing workshops, 4-day workshops for free.
Wow. And
at the end of that, you get a Blackmagic certification. If you can get involved in Film Independent is doing a whole online series. Like all the organizations are going no holds barred. The nice thing is too, is like being part of the Producers Guild, they're getting people who wouldn't normally take pitches to take pitches. So being a member, I got to speak with A&E yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Looking forward to like talking to Lifetime and all those people that are looking for content because they're stalled on their side.
So these individuals and organizations that otherwise would have been harder to access are now themselves adapting and putting out these great resources to engage and encourage all of us.
Right, exactly. And I mean, with this transition, I've learned how to put my script soup class online. And that's been a phenomenal learning curve, but it's like amazing to see how it can be done. That's
great. Yeah. And like, have you had good engagement with that?
Oh yeah. My first class had 20 people signed up. It was amazing. And now I'm doing some reformatting with it because there's actually a platform that allows me to put it up as lessons. So it's not just like this 8-hour class with very little breaks and stuff in between. But yeah, I mean, the learning curve there was understanding that I don't have faces in front of me to understand whether they get the information or if it's over their head. Mm-hmm. So that's been different, but yeah, it's been great.
Where are you at? Where's your head at in your personal life?
Oh man, I'm so sad because like I was training to do half marathons this year. I was like, this year is going to be the year I do like at least 4. And then San Diego came and went with COVID. And now Denver's came and went because of COVID, and Chicago came and went because of COVID. So, I mean, I love running. It's helped me keep steady. So I've challenged, instead of being part of this whole, I'm going to do half marathon thing. I've challenged myself to do 366 miles this year. So it's been a lot of rearranging of what were my goals, what are some alternates to those goals, and still accomplish what I need to do. Like I still set out this year to do a short film. And what's so sad is like, we were so close. We were about to shoot the day before Governor Newsom said no more over 10. We were about to shoot like the very next day and it got pulled and we were like, okay, But obviously I'm trying to figure out how to do it, even if it is more difficult in COVID, to get a short film done this year and just say, you know what, this is a learning opportunity. This is a chance for me to step out of my norm. And that's all been just personal pursuits and personal understanding of this is a time that we will never have again, where everybody is literally down. Like there's been times where I've been depressed and looked around and been like, how come the rest of the world is still moving? That's not fair because I want the world to be on pause with me. This is a time where everybody's on pause, and it's taking a step back and going, everybody's in this together. And just because I'm frustrated that I can't get what I wanted to get done personally or professionally, everybody else is frustrated too. So how can I either pivot or adapt to do what I want to do and pursue what I need to do personally? The other thing that's been fun too, personally, is Ben is an amazing chef. He's my fiance, for those of you who don't know. But he has been going cooking crazy, and he's been finding all these different recipes. We found the best chocolate chip cookie dough recipe ever. So that's been a lot of fun. And we've gotten back in touch with our kids side and been playing a lot of video games.
Before I let you go, I like to ask everyone, what are you reading? What are you watching? What board game are you playing? What media are you consuming?
Interesting. So because I just got into the Disney diversity inclusion program thing that they have there, I've been watching a lot of Disney stuff. I also just got a ton of screeners for the Television Academy, the Emmy nominations and stuff. So I've been watching a lot of those. And then we've been playing Labyrinth, which is a board game. Ben wanted to play that, so he went and found it for $20 on eBay, and we've been chucking away at that.
Wow, Ro, thank you so much for talking to us today. I feel like I learned so much, and I know our viewers are going to love to hear a lot of what you had to say. So just keep doing what you're doing, and I know you are going to continue to thrive in this world of COVID-19 and beyond. So thank you from myself and the people of Pasadena.
You're welcome. Happy to help, happy to share.